Today is Tuesday, February 4th, and as a reminder, this is a public meeting and is being recorded. Please ensure your phone line is muted. Thank you. First, we will start off with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Boyce.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we begin our first general session of the month, I want to take a moment to recognize that February is Black History Month, a time to reflect on the contributions, achievements, and resilience of Black individuals throughout our nation's history. Black History Month is more than just a celebration. It's an opportunity to honor the strength, culture, and progress that have shaped our country. It's also a time to acknowledge the challenges that remain and recommit ourselves to build a future rooted in equity and inclusion. Honoring Black history means honoring American history by learning from the past and amplifying these stories. We continue the work of creating a more just and unified nation. In celebration of this important month, we are pleased to have Mr. Gregory Edmonds, president of the Tuskegee Airmen Ohio Memorial Chapter, with us today. As a dedicated advocate for preserving the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen, Mr. Edmonds works tirelessly to ensure their contributions to our nation are remembered and celebrated by educating and inspiring new generations. Please join me in welcoming Gregory Edmonds.
Thank you, Commissioner Crawley, and all commissioners. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And all of you. Again, I'm honored to be here. I appreciate Perla Martinez and the Office of DEI inviting me to be here for my 3 minutes of fame. And I'd like for all those who are veterans to please raise your hand. Thanks for your service. I joined the Tuskegee Airmen in the Detroit chapter when I was living in Toledo in 1995. And so I've been affiliated with them ever since. And it happened when I took a group of Boy Scouts up there to Detroit to see their National Museum, which is still there in the Charles Wright Museum of African American History. The Moton Airfield in Tuskegee is the National Historic Site. So if any of you want to go see the National Museum, you have to hike up to Detroit. I wanted to accent the fact that the Tuskegee Airmen overcame many obstacles to achieve greatness. They were told that they were not good enough, that you would be an experiment, and they thought that they would fail. However, they overcame and persisted and persevered in trying times. Why? Love of country. I always say that. Even though there was segregation rampant and those are trying to deny them the opportunity to do it, the common thread, not only with African Americans, but Native Americans, all Americans, is love of country, period. So they persisted and rose above. Now, they formed chapters in 1971, and Detroit was the first chapter, which is what I joined. And then other chapters followed in the states, including this one that covers Central Ohio, which is the Ohio Memorial Chapter. The legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen originally was for their own benefit because only you had to be an original to join. Then they opened up to active military personnel and civilians, which is why I was able to join in 1995. To that end, their legacy is now perpetuated through their youth programs. So I will say briefly in my 3 minutes that the one, and I'm going to say this in chronological order, on March 25th, we have our Pathway to Aerospace program, which teaches youth ages 15 to 19 drones, okay? And it takes place over at Driving Park. As you know, both good and bad, and the Japanese use drones for firefighting. It's here, it's now, as a career in all aspects, civilian and otherwise. So we are teaching those children now, okay? So anyone you know that fits that category wants to sign up, let me know, okay? Then on March 29th, we celebrate Ohio's Tuskegee Airmen Day, which will be at the village of Lockbourne this year. Appreciate your support. I I know Commissioner Crawley and Boyce and Franklin County Prosecutor Favor have been there when we had it at the National Veterans Memorial Museum. So this year it'll be at the Village of Lockbourne Town Hall, okay? And you will get your invites, and we appreciate your support. Then in July, the second week of July, this will be our 17th year with our Buckeye Tigers program, and that'll be for kids ages 12 to 18. We will be taking them to various places like Wright-Patt Air Force Base and Museum, NetJets, John Glenn Airport, to expose them to careers in aerospace. The staging area, as it has been for the last 2 years, will be the National Veterans Memorial Museum, which is my other home, away from home, where I volunteer. So again, if you know any children that fit that, let me know, okay? Because who talks about careers in aerospace? And there are a lot of opportunities, okay? A lot of needs. Finally, again, in my 3 minutes, and I appreciate your patience, whenever we have youth, February 13th, the Ohio Supreme Court, please go there. We have, when I say we, the Tuskegee Airmen, we have 5 portraits in there that were painted by Robert Tanner, who's now 90 years young, lives in Delaware. So whereas they were having a larger ceremony, there was an invitation-only ceremony back in November. Now it's going to be open to more to the public. So anyone who's interested in attending that, if not, please see the exhibit that's there, okay? But anytime we have youth, I like to conclude by reading this poem, and it's called Yes, I Can, by Walter Wintle. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it is almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out in the world we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the one who thinks he can. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a question.
Oh, okay, sure.
Just real quick, for the Tuskegee Airmen, if you can just touch on briefly their the connection to the Airmen and Lockbourne or the Rickenbacker Airport.
Sure. Freeman Field, Indiana, there was, they had an officers club, and that's where a lot of the Tuskegee Airmen were stationed after the war. And they tried to push into the officers club when they were told that they weren't good enough. Now here they are, lieutenants, and they said, no, you're not, you can't come in here. Now they just fought for this country, and no, you're not good enough. So a few of them pushed past them into the Freeman Field, into the officers club, and they were court-martialed, including Mayor Coleman Young, if you know that name, who was also a Tuskegee Airman, and he's the one who founded the National Museum that's up in Detroit. So after that incident, they decided we got to ship these guys out of here. So they ended up transferring them to Lockbourne, which is now Rickenbacker. So that became their last airfield, 1946 to 49. And of course, President Truman desegregated the military by Executive Order 9981 in 1948. Okay, why did he have to sign an executive order? Because Congress refused to do it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing that important part of history with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we are joined by some special guests to help us recognize that February is also American Heart Month. And as many of you know, cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. What is often less recognized is that women, especially Black and Hispanic women, face a higher risk of heart disease and stroke. Additionally, research shows that heart attacks are becoming more common among younger women. Here to tell us a little bit more about American Heart Month and what we all can do, what we all can be doing to be heart healthier is American Heart Association Executive Director Nancy Tobee. Thank you.
Well, thank you and good morning, and thank you for having us. I first want to thank Commissioner Mazzola for helping us get here today, and thank you to President Crowley, and thank you to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners for really passing the resolution for honoring February as American Heart Month. As we shared, cardiovascular disease continues to remain the #1 health threat. And just recently, the statistical update said it now kills more people than the #2 and #3 causes of death combined. And we know that it's highly preventable. You know, our work alongside the Franklin County Public Health is helping to make sure that everyone has access to care and has the opportunity for a full, healthy life. And our mission is to make sure that everyone has health and hope for everyone, everywhere. And again, working alongside Franklin County Public Health and many collaborators in this community, we are starting to see sustainable health wins that will make changes for our community and again allow people to live longer, healthier lives. And so again, I want to be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to thank Commissioner Mazzola, who's just been a long-standing friend of the American Heart Association, alongside so many in the community, for helping utilize his leadership and voice again to make some of those sustainable health changes in our community for population health change. So again, we're honored to work alongside all of you in our community to make sure that we can bring awareness and education to heart disease and stroke and make sure that everyone has the opportunity for that full, healthy life. And I'm honored today to be standing alongside Ellie Dorsett, who not only is a friend of the American Heart Association, but has been impacted by our mission and is a survivor of heart. So I'd love for her to share a little bit about her journey with the heart.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you all for having me and letting me share my story. Every time they call me and they ask if I want to attend an event, I'm like, okay, sure. But I did tell Sarah to give me a sign if I'm talking for too long, because there's a lot to my story, but I'll try to give like the brief synopsis. A little bit of background about me. I'm from Ohio. I'm from Canton, Ohio. I came down to Ohio State. Health and fitness has always been an important role in my life. I've spent my entire life being active all the way up through college, where I was lucky enough to be an Ohio State cheerleader. So I've always been like a huge Buckeye fan. I joke that I transferred from one red to the next, not knowingly that was my future. So after college, I got married. I had 3 kids. Shortly after having my third, we had a daughter, 2 boys and a girl. We went home for Thanksgiving, and my mom suddenly collapsed in our kitchen. Unfortunately, it was an event that I was not expecting, and my life took a big turn. From that moment on, I really just started to believe in listening to your body, that there's signs that your body's trying to give you, and to lean in and hopefully have time to take action before it's too late. So fast forward a year, my daughter had just turned 1. I was busy, I was tired, the normal mom life things, and I started noticing really severe pains in my shoulder. I would carry a laundry basket upstairs and I would shake my arm off, and then I'd go about the rest of my day. I didn't think anything of it. Finally, I mentioned something to my neighbor who is in the medical field, and she said, you really should get that looked at. That's not normal to be standing, just standing in your house and have these pains that you have to stop and then just go on. So I mentioned it. They luckily had me do a stress echo, which I've learned now was pretty rare that they would do the echo part, but I'm forever grateful for that. I went in on a Monday. My first appointment was Friday. Monday, I went in for the stress echo. They said, you passed it with flying colors. Fitness has always been important to me, so I took it very serious. And I left, and they said, no news is good news. So I said, okay, it must not be anything serious. Later that evening, I had already gone to bed, and they called my husband, and they said, what we found is pretty significant. I had 2 major issues. I had enlargement in my left ventricle, and then my ejection fraction, which, not to get too scientific, but it's like the amount of oxygen-rich blood your heart pumps is at 20%. And I was like, what? They said it's pretty rare that you were able to complete this testing without having complications. And I was like, oh, they said, we need you to get to the pharmacy right now. So my husband left, and from that moment on, I would say the next 2 months were filled with 20 or so appointments. I got put on the Life Vest, which is an external defibrillator. Again, I'm thankful for the technology and the funding that helps with this research. So as they tried to identify where the root cause was, I had this as a peace of mind. It was a vest that you wear. It's essentially like a wearable AED. and I just kept searching for answers. I wasn't matching my paperwork, and something still didn't seem right. So I ended up going through all the genetic testing, and it came back positive that I carry a gene directly correlated with the risk of sudden death and the risk of dilated cardiomyopathy. So finally, after getting my diagnosis, they said, you're going to need an internal defibrillator. So it'll be 5 years next month. I got my defibrillator implanted at Ohio State, and I've been seeing the medical team there for heart failure, and my electrophysiologist. I can't say that. But it has just been an honor to. I always say the knowledge is power. Now that I know I'm able to take the right actions, and sometimes in life when you're handed genetic things, your lifestyle is the only way to handle that. So I've just been honored to be a part of the American Heart Association. I joke, I'm like, cheerleading has always been my life, so now I get to cheer for another better cause. And if I can help one person just go in and listen to their body and go to the doctor, it makes me happy. So I appreciate you guys and what you're doing for Go Red. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I didn't mention, but obviously having 3 kids, it does impact them. So they've gotten involved in the Heart Association, and they have been genetic tested. And so my one child's future, he'll have a long heart health journey himself. So I appreciate all the awareness building because it's going to affect future generations.
Thank you, Nancy and Allie, for sharing more about the American Heart Month. We'd like to present you with the resolution and take a few photos, but I didn't know if my colleagues had something that they wanted to say in regards to Heart Month. I know normally we do. If not, I just want to say thank you for all that you all are doing in this space and bringing awareness to the statistics, but also for folks to live a healthier lifestyle. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Before we go to the agenda, I wanted to do a little known history fact. I should have did it when we were talking about when Mr. Edmonds was up here, but I want to highlight one of the first African American governor in the United States. His name was PBS Pinchback, and the reason why I wanted to highlight him is because, one, Black History Month isn't just about like enslavement and all the struggles that we have had or Black Americans have had, but also stories of triumph and overcoming. And PBS Pinchback was the 24th governor of Louisiana, and I wanted to mention him because I feel like all roads lead through Ohio. And he lived here in Ohio after his father passed away, moved here after 1848. And was a officer for the Union Army and was one of the first Black Americans to serve, to hold the position of officer in the Army. And so wanted to, if you had not heard of PBS Pinchback, wanted to highlight him. So next, we will go to our regular agenda, which is the Board of Commissioners is up first.
Resolution number 8025, resolution ordering the clerk to transmit the adjusted schedule of assessments for the improvements to the Cook Tri-County Ditch Watershed to the county auditors of Franklin County, Delaware County, and Licking County, Ohio.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nick Soulis, Government Affairs Liaison for Franklin County Engineer Adam Fowler. Commissioners, if you'll recall, back in December of 2018, a joint county ditch petition was filed with the clerk of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners to improve the drainage in a Cook Tri-County Ditch watershed. After several hearings and a lot of work with public involvement, on December 6th of 2022, the joint board, county board, met on December 6, 2022, and approved the final plans and the estimated assessments. Since that, and approved with the project going forward. The Franklin County engineer received bids, entered into contracts for the construction of the improvements, and completed the project. The good news is that the project came in approximately $41,000 under budget and on time. That means we need to adjust the final assessments to the property owners within the watershed, reducing the assessment amounts. This resolution will do that and will allow us to certify the adjusted assessments to the auditors in Delaware County, Licking County, and Franklin County. So pending any questions, we ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 80-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 8025 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Engineer's Office.
Resolution number 8125, the 2025 Resurfacing Program for Franklin County, Ohio, declared necessary and hearing fixed for Tuesday, February 25th, 2025 at 9 a.m.
Good morning, Commissioners. Adam Fowler, Franklin County Engineer. Commissioners, this resolution declares necessary the 2025 Franklin County Resurfacing Program. The county engineer has identified 10 roads throughout the county in need of resurfacing and has included them in this year's program. Approval of this resolution will authorize the engineer to prepare plans, specifications, and estimates for the project. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 81-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 8125 has been adopted. Resolution number 8225, MS Consultants Incorporated, consulting engineers appointed to assist the Franklin County engineer by providing real estate acquisition services for the Cook Road, County Road number 80, from Carl Road, County Road number 76, to Cleveland Avenue, County Road number 75, improvement project, Clinton Township, Franklin County, Ohio, in the amount of $406,550.
Our next resolution seeks approval with the contract with MS Consultants to assist the Franklin County engineer by providing real estate acquisition services from the Cook Road, from Carl Road to Cleveland Avenue Improvement Project. MS Consultants is a local engineer firm and was chosen via the qualification-based selection process. The project funded with MORPC attributable funding, OPWC dollars, and community project funded through Congresswoman Beatty's office. Seeks to improve Cook Road by adding curb and gutter, sidewalks, and shared use paths, storm sewer improvements, and lane. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 82-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 8225 has been adopted. Resolution number 8325, resolution requesting the Ohio Department of Transportation to reduce the speed limit on Berger Road, Township Road number 227, Madison Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
This resolution seeks authorization to request the Ohio Department of Transportation to investigate the speed limit on Berger, beginning at Richardson Road and continuing easternly to Oregon Road. The county engineers received a request to study the speed limit on this road, and ODOT will review the study to determine a safe speed. The engineer's office has determined that the speed limit reduction from 45 to 35 miles per hour would be appropriate. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 83-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 8325 has been adopted. Resolution number 8425, resolution requesting the Ohio Department of Transportation to reduce the speed limit on Federal Road, County Road number 22, Brown Township, and Prairie Township, Franklin County, Ohio.
As per the previous resolution, this seeks authorization to request the Ohio Department of Transportation to investigate the speed limit on Federal Road beginning at Amity Road and continuing easternly to Alden and Darby Creek Road. The engineer's office has determined that the speed limit reduction from 55 to 50 miles per hour would be appropriate. If any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 84-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 8425 has been adopted. Resolution number 8525, Plum Run Crossing accepted for public maintenance and shall become part of the Jackson Township Road System, Franklin County, Ohio.
Our next resolution seeks approval of the Plum Run Crossing subdivision to be accepted as part of the public road system and the maintenance turned over to Jackson Township. The engineer's office has inspected the street and determined they meet all requirements and specifications. This is the final legislative step that allows a developer to proceed with sound homes. If any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 85-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 8525 has been adopted. Resolution number 8625, resolution accepting the annual bridge inspection report for 2024.
Our final resolution, the county engineer is responsible for construction, reconstruction, improvements, maintenance, and repairs of all bridges under the jurisdiction of the Board of County Commissioners. Per the Ohio Revised Code, these bridges must be inspected annually. This resolution seeks acceptance of the annual bridge inspection report for 2024. If any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 86-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 8625 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Emergency Management Agency.
Resolution number 8725, resolution authorizing the Franklin County Administrator and the Director of Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security to execute an FY 2024 Urban Area Security Initiative grant and authorizing the Director of Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security to be the designated agent for administration purposes in the amount of $1,500,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Young, representing Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security. This resolution to authorize the county administrator to execute the Columbus Urban Area Security Initiative UASI grant agreement with the state of Ohio and authorizes the Director of Franklin County Emergency Management and Homeland Security as the designated agent for grant administration will allow us to begin the process of taking the previously identified and accepted project categories and proceeding with the grants management and procurement process. These project areas include public safety communication security, explosive device mitigation, threat and hazard planning, election security support, training, and large crowd event support. As these projects proceed over the remaining 2 years of the FY24 performance period, expenditures will be procured following the county procurement, as well as state and federal policies, and with the assistance of Franklin County Purchasing and the prosecutor's approval to form. This resolution also addresses the necessary supplemental 2025 budget appropriation, since the grant document was not available from the state of Ohio when the agency's 2025 budget was prepared and approved. I will gladly answer any questions and ask for your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 87-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 8725 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Economic Development and Planning.
Resolution number 8825, case number ANX-22-24, review of petition to annex 104.5 acres more or less from Washington Township to the city of Dublin.
Good morning, Commissioners. Emmanuel Torres, Assistant Director of Economic Development and Planning. Our first resolution is to consider a municipal annexation petition from Washington Township to the city of Dublin. The area to be annexed, as described in the petition, includes 3 adjacent sites comprised of a total of 9 parcels. These sites are located just west of the Dublin Methodist Hospital, to the east of Dairy Fields. And it's just on the west intersection on Cosgray Road and Shire Rings Road. The sites are respectively 86%, 100%, and 65% contiguous to the city of Dublin. The city has passed ordinance indicating that services will be provided once the annexation is approved, and the petition does meet all statutory requirements outlined in section 709.16, of the Ohio Revised Code. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 88-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Resolution number 8825 has been adopted. Resolution number 8925, resolution responding to the January 14th, 2025 notice received concerning the proposed creation of a tax increment financing incentive district in the city of Whitehall.
Commissioners, this resolution, the city of Whitehall seeks to create a tax increment finance district to be called the Fairway Boulevard Incentive District to support the construction of approximately 36 new townhomes. Formal notice to the board was received on January 14th of this 2025 that the proposed TIF district would be created for a term of 30 years and the percentage exempted from taxation would be 100%. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 5709.40E2, this board may object to TIF incentive districts proposed for more than 10 years or where the percentage of exemption from taxation would exceed 75%. This board recognizes that TIF districts with residential components places strain on various social service levy agencies in Franklin County as revenue is redirected and does not recognize potential service increases. Through this resolution, the Board of Commissioners formally objects to the exemption in excess of 10 years for the proposed TIF. It seeks compensation in years 11 through 30 of this proposed TIF district. It directs staff to work with the City of Whitehall to negotiate a compensation agreement. If the City of Whitehall proceeds to create the TIF district without reaching said agreement, the county shall be compensated by a default rate as set in Section 5709.40E2 of Ohio Revised Code. Lastly, this resolution instructs the clerk to certify a copy of the resolution to the City Council of City of Whitehall within 30 days of the notice from the City of Whitehall. Pending any questions, I respectfully request the approval of this resolution.
Thank you. Madam President, may I?
Absolutely.
One, I just want to say again, as the public sees these, want to make sure we do a good job of helping them understand kind of what a TIF is, how it works, and because you said a couple of things that just made me feel compelled to say this. When we, essentially what's happening here to the public is that we're deferring taxes to an economic development project in an area that we feel is needs that resource to sort of uplift it. And you said there was an impact to our own sort of, can't remember how you.
Our levy agencies.
Yeah, our levy
Yes, sir.
agencies. The thing I want to point out is a TIF is just that for whatever project it's supporting. It is an economic development tool that creates jobs, supports economic development, impacts community development efforts. And so this boulevard, underneath that conversation is development, economic development, job creation in this particular area. And so I just want to point that out because you're not completely losing anything. It's being invested strategically. And that's how I look at it. And so the question I have, though, to you is, do we have this authority on all TIFs? Because I feel like I don't recall us doing these for Columbus or for other cities. So does Columbus's TIFs come before the Board of Commissioners as well?
Yes, Commissioner Boyce. And to clarify, this particular TIF is directly related to the development of residential units. It is projects that have that residential component, and specifically single-family residences and up to 3 units residential projects. Those TIFs and those projects are the ones where the authority of the Ohio Revised Code is provided to this board to object, so that the percentage greater than 75% that would otherwise be going toward improvements and repayment of those expenses can be diverted back to the service levy agencies.
Gotcha. Yeah, this is unique, though, because I feel like I don't feel like I've been here to do this kind of.
We've had
Okay.
responses like these, I'd say probably 2, 3 over the last year or so.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
Yes, sir.
This seems unique, okay. All right, I don't have any questions. Oh, I guess it's on me. If there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 89-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes,
Resolution number 8925 has been adopted.
Thank you and have a great day.
thank you. You too. Next up, Justice Policy and Programs.
Resolution number 9025, resolution authorizing a professional service contract agreement with Impact Community Action for peer support and case management services for residents served through the Pathways Achieving Recovery by Choice program in the amount of $23,567.
Good morning, Commissioners. Melissa Pearson on behalf of the Franklin County Office of Justice Policy and Programs. Impact Community Action has been a collaborating partner supporting our Pathways pre-release and post-release programs since early launch of the program. The resolution before you requests approval of a professional services contract in the amount of $23,567 for the continued provision of case management, peer support, group facilitation, and post-release support for our graduates of the Pathways to Women's Healthy Living program. This contract is supported with funding through the local opioid settlement grant and supports Goal 9 of the Rise Together Blueprint. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 90-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes,
Resolution number 90-25 has been adopted. Resolution number 9125, resolution authorizing execution of a lease agreement with the Reeb Center for leased space to implement a centralized location for the provision of peer support and other supportive services in the amount of $23,128.68.
Commissioners, since launch of our Safer Stations program, we have operated services out of a building located on the west side. This location has served us well, but it does not offer opportunities for expansion or facilitation of groups in the community. When we learned the building was changing ownership and that space had opened up at the Reeb Center located at 280 Reeb Avenue at a significant cost savings, it was determined that the Reeb Center would better serve our space and security needs, and also opportunities for expansion of services to include badly needed office space for our peers working in the community, a group room that can be used for our weekly Pathways community groups, and other reentry programming as needed. The Reeb Center also serves as a centralized hub for a range of supportive services provided by our community partners, including Southeast, Goodwill, Godman Guild, St. Stephen's Community House, and the Mid-Ohio Food Pantry, which serves hot meals daily. The monthly rent under this agreement is $1,631.73, which includes utilities, housekeeping, and maintenance of the space, and represents an approximate savings of $500 per month. A combination of federal and state grant funds will support this lease through December 2026, and this resolution also supports Goal 9 of the Rise Together Blueprint. Pending any questions, I would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 91-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
yes,
Resolution number 9125 has been adopted.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Thank you.
thank you. Next, we have purchasing.
Resolution number 9225, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $4,233,298.64.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tracy Matthew, Assistant Director of Purchasing, and joining me is Andrina Austin, Economic Equity Administrator for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This resolution, Commissioners, will request your approval of 180 purchase orders for which the county auditor has pre-certified available funding. I'll turn it over to Andrina to share the supplier diversity data.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. 8 of the purchase orders being presented are being awarded to small and emerging businesses totaling $207,223.80. These awards are dispersed as follows: 1% to small businesses, 2% to women-owned businesses, 1% to minority-owned businesses, and 1% to local economically disadvantaged enterprises. Once approved, 7 agencies will provide equitable and inclusive opportunities to small businesses this week, and these agencies are the Court of Common Pleas, the Emergency Management, Engineer's Office, Job and Family Services, Prosecuting Attorney's Office, Public Facilities Management, and the Sheriff's Department. Year-to-date, Franklin County Board of Commissioner agencies have been awarded 76 purchase orders to small and emerging businesses totaling $2,488,913.02. And pending any of your questions or your comments, we are requesting your approvals.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 92-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 9225 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Resolution number 9325, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $168,828.25.
Commissioners, this resolution requests your approval of 8 purchase orders. The county auditor has pre-certified available funding, and pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 9325.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain.
Resolution number 9325 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any generalizations?
We do. We have 2. The first is case number ANX-02-25, an expedited Type 2 annexation petition. ANX-02-25 was filed with the Franklin County Economic Development and Planning Department on January 31st, 2025. The petition is requesting to annex 8.618 acres from Franklin Township to the City of Columbus. The petition will be considered by the Board of Commissioners on March 11th, 2025. The site is 1696 North Hague Avenue, PID number 140-000312 and 140-003344. And finally, the document that has been presented in front of you, each of you today, has been sent to your offices via email and is being journalized as required under Resolution number 39224, Intergovernmental Agreements. The Clerk's Office has been tracking each contract signed by the County Administrator under this authority as required by the resolution. The list provided to you will be captured in today's meeting minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any members of the media in person or online with any questions? Hearing and seeing none, that concludes our business for the day. Have a happy Tuesday.